Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's lesson on family history, a fascinating topic that helps us explore where we come from and the journeys our ancestors might have taken. We'll discuss how to learn about family history, what DNA can reveal about our ancestry, and how understanding our past connects us with others around the world. To start, first, I will read the text for you. A remarkable journey. I'm from Poland, and my parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents are Polish too. It was really interesting to find out that my family history starts in Africa. The DNA test showed that, over time, my ancestors travelled from Africa to northeastern Europe. They were part of a group which also travelled as far east as India and Pakistan. I had no idea. This has helped me understand one simple thing. We are all one big family. Louisa. I was amazed to find out that my ancestors travelled through Eastern Europe on their way to India, where I was born. Suddenly I felt connected with countries like Hungary, Romania, and the Czech Republic. Before this, they were only names on a map to me. Raju, think about your own family. Do you know much about your family's history? Maybe you've heard stories about where your grandparents or great-grandparents came from. Family history can reveal a lot about our roots, the places our ancestors called home, and even their journeys across countries or continents. Now, let's dive into today's reading, a remarkable journey where we meet two individuals, Louisa and Raju, who each learned amazing things about their family history through DNA tests. They both went on journeys, not physical ones, but journeys of discovery about their ancestors. First, let's look at Louisa's story. She's from Poland, and as far as she knew, her family had always been Polish. But when she took a DNA test, she discovered that her family's story actually began in Africa. Over time, her ancestors travelled from Africa to northeastern Europe. This journey, which likely took generations, showed Louisa that she shares roots with people across the globe. She realised that, in many ways, we're all part of one big family. Then there's Raju, who was born in India. Through his DNA test, he found out that his ancestors journeyed through Eastern Europe, passing through places like Hungary, Romania, and the Czech Republic, before reaching India. Before this discovery, these were just places on a map to him. Now he feels a strong connection to these regions, as if they're a part of his own story. If we look at the map included in this lesson, we can see possible paths that Louisa's and Raju's ancestors might have taken. The red line on the map begins in Africa, moving through Europe and Asia, highlighting the journeys they could have taken over thousands of years. It's amazing to think that families like theirs embarked on these travels long ago, and today, through DNA, we can trace these remarkable journeys. This map reminds us that the history of human movement is like a puzzle. When we piece it together, we can see how interconnected we are, regardless of where we come from. Let's go over some key vocabulary from the text to help us understand it better. 1. Remarkable. This means something very unusual or amazing, something you admire. So, a remarkable journey refers to a unique journey worth noting. 2. Ancestors. These are people in your family from a long time ago, like your great-great-grandparents, who passed down their history through generations. 3. Amazed. To be amazed means to be very surprised. Louisa and Raju were both amazed by their discoveries about where their ancestors came from. 4. Connected with. This means feeling a sense of belonging or relation to something. After learning about their family history, Louisa and Raju felt connected to countries they'd never even visited. In the story, both Louisa and Raju learned about their ancestry through a DNA test. But what exactly is DNA? DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. It's a hereditary material found in almost all living things, including us. DNA contains instructions that make us who we are, like a recipe. It determines things like our eye color, hair color, and much more. Since we inherit DNA from our parents, and they from their parents, Scientists can use DNA to trace our family history. By studying DNA, scientists can learn where our ancestors might have lived and the routes they took to get to where we are today. It's incredible that something so tiny inside our cells holds so much information about our past. Before we finish, here are some questions for you to think about. You can answer them in the comments or just think about them yourself. 1. Do you know anything about your family's history? If not, how could you find out more? 2. How do you think learning about family history can change how we view ourselves or others? 3. If you could learn about your ancestors' journey, where do you think they might have travelled? In conclusion, we learned today that family history isn't just about names on a family tree. It's about understanding our roots and the journeys that shaped who we are. Louisa's and Raju's stories show us that we're all part of a big human family, connected by the paths our ancestors took. One day, you might look into your own family history, and who knows what remarkable journey you'll discover. Thank you for joining today's lesson on family history. Don't forget to like, subscribe for more lessons, and share this video with friends who might find it interesting. Let's now move to the workbook part of our lesson and explore more about family history with a new example. In this workbook activity, we're introduced to Patrick O'Connell, a young man with an interesting family background that stretches across continents. Patrick's story is a fantastic example of how we can explore our roots and learn more about our heritage by looking at where our family members came from. Let's dive into the details. Patrick O'Connell is Canadian. He was born in Ottawa, the capital city of Canada, on July 27, 2002. His parents, Liam and Catherine, were also born in Ottawa. But even though Patrick's immediate family has lived in Canada for at least a couple of generations, his family's story actually begins far from Canadian soil. On Patrick's father's side, the family originally came from Ireland. His ancestors emigrated from Ireland to Canada in the 1840s, likely in search of better opportunities and a new life. Patrick's father, Liam, has been deeply interested in this history and has even taken Patrick to Ireland to explore this connection. They visited the village where Patrick's Irish ancestors once lived, and they even met distant relatives who still reside there. This experience helped Patrick feel a stronger connection to his roots in Ireland and understand more about his family's journey to Canada. Now, let's take a look at Patrick's mother's side of the family. His mother, Catherine, has roots in Scotland. Just like Liam's family, Catherine's ancestors also emigrated around the same time, leaving Scotland to make a new life in Canada. So, Patrick has ancestry that ties him to both Ireland and Scotland, two beautiful countries with rich histories and vibrant cultures. Although he was born in Canada and considers himself Canadian, his heritage links him to both Ireland and Scotland, making his family history unique and giving him a sense of connection to these places. Now, let's take a closer look at the workbook activity that Patrick is working on. The workbook includes a form that helps Patrick organise and document what he knows about his family history. Filling out this form is a useful exercise that allows Patrick to write down important information about his family, which may help him in the future as he learns more about his heritage. Here's how Patrick might fill out his form. First name, Patrick family. Name, O'Connell nationality, Canadian place of birth. Ottawa, Canada. Date of birth, July 27, 2002. Father's name, Liam. Mother's name, Catherine parents' nationality, Canadian parents' place of birth, Ottawa, Canada. In the second part of the form, Patrick notes down the information he already knows about his family's ancestry. Father's ancestors, Ireland, mother's ancestors, Scotland. By filling out this form, Patrick is creating a record of his family history that he can refer back to. It's like building a family tree, where each piece of information helps him understand more about his identity and heritage. Knowing where your family comes from, even if it's just a few generations back, can give you a sense of belonging and identity. This form may seem simple, but it holds a lot of meaning. Each piece of information Patrick writes down, from his nationality to his parents' place of birth, contributes to his understanding of who he is. For example, even though Patrick was born and raised in Canada, knowing about his Irish and Scottish ancestry gives him a special connection to those cultures. This connection might even inspire him to learn more about Irish and Scottish traditions, language, or history. Let's talk a little more about why family history is valuable. When you look into your family's past, you're not just learning about dates and places, you're uncovering stories, struggles, and journeys that shaped who you are today. Your ancestors might have overcome difficult challenges, moved to new countries, or made important decisions that have affected your life, even if you're not directly aware of it. By understanding your family's history, you gain insight into the values, beliefs, and traditions that have been passed down through generations. For Patrick, learning about his ancestors' journey from Ireland and Scotland to Canada helps him appreciate the sacrifices they made. It also strengthens his sense of identity as a Canadian with deep European roots. This connection could be an inspiration for Patrick, helping him feel proud of his heritage and perhaps even encouraging him to continue exploring his family history as he grows older. To finish up, let's imagine how Patrick's knowledge of his family history might impact his future. By knowing his roots, Patrick might feel inspired to keep learning about his heritage, possibly by exploring Irish or Scottish culture more deeply, studying the languages, or even visiting Ireland and Scotland again as an adult. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, share, and like for more interesting lessons.